there was a couple people that could have ran with StacksAMilli. A couple people screwed up on it big time, didn't have the right production set up. We had amazing times, but then they didn't have it all recorded on video. They didn't bring their own producers. They were just expecting me to do. But no, StacksAMilli's bigger than that, than just me doing a vlog or some Instagrams and some TikToks and whatever. Like, if anybody was really smart, they would have had all the reality show 4K RED cameras. Like, that's, if you're not, like, that's how you could make tons of money with the StacksAMilli. Like, I've seen them come around with all these different cool things and whatnot, expensive watches, diamond watches, and Rolls Royce Phantoms, and Maybachs, and they're in all that kind of stuff. Or they're doing something extravagant, like Nicki Minaj, downtown London, was there, did something cool for me, and I think she wanted it to be on my vlog, but was never told that she was going to be doing this, and it was just a surprise, so I wasn't ready to do the vlog. And then, but if she would have had like proper cameras recording everything, recording me, recording her, and recording like B-rolls in the surrounding area and whatnot, it would have made for a really good video, and it would have been the next big thing. Same with a lot of times Rick Ross and Gunplay have came see me. They've been great times, and that would have been their they haven't released new things like that in years. People are dying for that, and that's what mine was. But I don't know. And then Drake came and see me in the jail, and supposedly there were cameras and everything, but I haven't seen nothing of it. Somebody's got to come out and actually put the cameras on. I'm ready to go or whatever. If I'm up and I'm acting and whatever, it needs to be recorded. I'm StacksAMilli, or else you're not wasting any of my time. You're only wasting your own, because if you're coming in like that, you should, if you're so big, have those cameras rolling. And then it should be edited, and then it should be put up on the YouTube and all the different platforms to get monetized and whatnot, or to go with the brand. And that's what they've been trying. That's what they did a couple times. Same with Cardi B and Offset. I seen them in Windsor, and it was a movie, but they didn't have the right productions. They should be going around with at least the DSLRs, with at least the DSLR cameras, or if you're big time, with the RED cameras. I seen them, and it was a movie. Should have been a video. And I'm trying to record more often too, because there's been a couple times I'm like in the middle. I just finished like 10 videos, and then boom, somebody pops up, somebody very important, like big time, and then I am so tired from just doing 10 videos. It's kind of my downtime, and that's when they usually hit me, is like right at my down time, and when I'm not really filming, but I should be filming. That's one thing I've learned in life. Every single moment is a next filming moment. It just passes your eyes by like you're the slow one. The world moves way faster than I move. I'm a very slow type of one a lot of the time. Like, I notice it like when I'm filming, because I miss a lot of shots. I'm really good at editing. But then there's also, people say, well, it's not very hard to take a picture, but for a lot of these cool concepts and all that, the world just never stops moving, and filming and photography and videos and everything are like capturing the world. So sometimes if you got to get on your job to really capture the world. It never stops. And the world never stops. There's always a possibility, even when you're sleeping. Like, you could go to sleep, you'll instantly fall asleep. If you're doing your job and you're working hard with the world, by the time you'll just hit the sack, because there's just so many things to capture every single day. It's crazy how many different companies and ideas. That was a big thing in my generation, back even to when I was younger. It was to like build your own business and become an entrepreneur. You wanted to get a startup, or you wanted to build a startup. Like, you want to work hard, and you didn't really have to go to college if you were really smart and could build a startup that was going to generate money. So a lot of people were trying to do that, come up with all different cool ideas, and a lot of people came up with some great products and innovations and technologies. And all different things have came up. So it's a very smart era when it comes to that. There's a lot of really cool little things popping up all the time, and you're directly connected to it through the internet and everything. So it's always a new experience and stuff when it comes to that, with business right now it's in a good period again, starting to get to a good period again. But yeah, people really want, I would like to see because I did really well from like the year 2012 until about 2018. I did fairly well, but especially 2012 to about 2015 or 2016, I did extremely well when it came to making money online with the job that I had, being an internet marketer for many other affiliate companies. And those years were great, and I remember the economy back then. And it's starting to get to that again. It almost feels like a 2011, or I was even saying a 2001. Because I remember back in 2001, the news, after 9/11, the news was non-stop, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. And I remember seeing on the internet, somebody said back, like, I don't know, I think maybe in 2008 or something, said they're all building like this thing to like sell vaccines and all that. It's going to be like the next 9/11 and whatever. This was back on, I think I've seen it popped up here and there on the internet every once in a while in the past years before they started the vaccine, the COVID-19 stuff. There was already, that had been like an idea for a lot of years and for the governments to do. They had leaked that stuff from like 2008, I'd say. 2008, 2000, like from 2008 to 2000, like later in the 2000s or whatever, people knew that, and they said it was going to be like the next big thing, almost like all over the news and everything. Because that's the only other time that I can really remember it being on the news the way they're on the news heavy right now. Was 9/11. That's when everybody was on the news. It was non-stop 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11 on the news. Almost every channel for like years. That is like COVID-19. Everything's COVID-19, COVID-19 on everything. Like never seen before, like except for like a 9/11. So that's how big it was. I believe it was a chemical weapon produced by one of the adversary countries or groups or whatever, and they fucking deployed it and killed a bunch of people with this virus. They developed a virus. Like, it sounds kookamani, but believe it or not, there are mad scientists. And now that term, you hear it when you're a kid, like mad scientists, you might get confused. It could just be an angry scientist. They're very smart. They grew up and they learned a lot of science. They could have a degree or not have a degree. They could just be very knowledgeable in how to manufacture chemicals or bacterias and whatnot, or whatever, just something like that, and then they could develop that and just spread it around. Boom, it could get all around and go viral, just like your social media posts could go viral. Their virus could go viral within the human race, just like a computer. So that could possibly be it. That was my theory on it, was that that's what it was. It was a straight chemical attack on a lot of countries and their people. That it could have been a mutated development of a virus. Somebody had manufactured this one artificially, not artificially, but man-made or whatever, and had spread it. But here's the thing: whoever did it on a very smart. They were very wealthy. They did it very clean. So it must have been government for sure. And then they sold all these vaccines. And where are the vaccines coming from? China. So my theory could possibly be that, and even Donald Trump and the rest of them have said, but they haven't gotten to this theory and this deep publicly, is that like China or the government, I wouldn't say the government, because if you accuse them, then they get angry. But whatever, you get what I'm saying. They developed this or whatever and had the ambition to kill a bunch of people and then make a bunch of money after selling the vaccines worldwide. They make so much money through the vaccine. China, the Pfizer investment company, that's what their name is. They are just an investment company, but they're into pharmaceuticals like this one. But their main goal is to make money with their pharmaceuticals. So they don't really care. They just want to make money. Kind of like a drug dealer doesn't really care that he's selling you cocaine, and as long as he's getting that $200 a gram or whatever amount of money that he gets. But I'm sure they go through rigorous testing with it, but still, it's not a very good drug. Any drug, just talking about it makes me woozy. Now, if you need to get vaccines, you need to get vaccinated. And that's just the world. The world's all about business. So don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-business either. Because I see the money that's made in it, and I see the reasoning why people need to be vaccinated, and there's certain environments. But that's what I did here coming up. But the vaccine is a good thing too, because some people do need to be vaccinated because they're working in these certain environments, or they're going to these certain environments a lot, and they're around a lot of different people, and that's a mass amount of people, and we don't want that mass amount of people spreading viruses around, because it could affect even ones that don't even go to those areas. Like it used to be, you don't go to the AIDS club or whatever with the gay club, because you might catch AIDS if you have sex or whatever, and yada yada. Like, or you'd hear like, oh, that club's got a lot of HIV people, or like that's an HIV club or whatever. And somebody that lives in the suburbs or whatever would be like, whoa, people have HIV over there, and yada. Or they just, it's hard to explain how they hear about it, but the HIV would stay over in that specific place. But now you got this disease that, say there's people that are whatever, they're in a certain environment, like these nightclubs and these sex clubs and these restaurants and whatever, you know what I mean? They're a certain kind of people than the other people that are at home or cook most of the time themselves, or are saving money to buy a house and all that. Because if you're saving money to buy a house, you really don't have any money to go to a restaurant and show out or anything. Get involved with other people that are just looking to make some money, and it's just going to cost you more money. So if you're really, really determined on saving, you don't need to be at those places anyway. You can watch a movie at home. You don't got to go to the theater. I've been many times, and I had a great time and everything. I've been so many times that I have no ambition to go to the theater. I went to the theater like 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the past 5 years. More than that. And had tons of popcorn, tons of soda, pop, and all that, and I just don't have any ambition to go anymore. because I've already went. I went to so many different. I went to like 5 different Cineplexes. I went to all different, So I don't really need that, and I don't go to sporting events really right now. Maybe in the future, like in 25 years or something. Maybe in 25 years, but not anytime soon. So, I don't know. So, in 25 years, if I want to go to the sporting event, how's that going to work? Because this is 2021, but say in 2040, I want to go to the sporting event. So, I wonder how that's going to work. If it's just going to not even be around anymore. See, so I don't even need it right now. But all power to Trudeau. I like Trudeau. I always did from 2015 and whatever. I got to know him and whatnot. And he's our Prime Minister, and he's our great Prime Minister. And he's currently reigning. He'll be reigning for a while. But they're saying, I don't think it'll be 8 years. I think it'll be 10 years. Just more than 8 years. That he'll be total Prime Minister, maybe even longer. Some Prime Ministers get 15, 20 years or better. He's so young. It's unbelievable how young he is. That's the thing. He's so young and he's so ambitious that, like, look at a Joe Biden. Joe Biden is I wouldn't say very old, but he's old. And same with Donald Trump. Donald Trump's a little bit younger and more sporadic, but Joe is a little more calculated or whatever. But he's a lot older than a Justin. Justin's really young, and he's got a lot to go. I think he's only in his 40s. Joe Biden's way older, at least 30 years older. 30, 40 years older than Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau could be Prime Minister for 40 years, 30 years. Because Joe Biden just ran for president at his age, and he's like 30 years older than Justin. So Justin has a lot of energy. He's got 30 years, 40 years more energy for running. He basically took the country over. It's his country. Because he's part of that family, and I am too, that was originally from Canada. Like, the original Canadian people, other than the natives, we were the ones that built Canada as a country. The natives just had a bunch of, they say like, well, they just came in and took the native stuff and yada yada yada. Well, I understand. We've said sorry and all that, and we've done our festivities for that. But no, they also came in and built the infrastructure that we all know of today. All the cities, all the police forces, all your electricity, all your anything like that, all that stuff, sidewalks, schools, all this stuff, the amenities of our society were built by those people that came in and had to reappropriate the land. They didn't even really take the land or yada yada anything from the natives. They really just said, hey, we want to build this like country or whatever called Canada. You have to go over here to these designated, you got your own land or whatever, just go over here. And then the ones that don't go over there, well, it's going to be a problem because we're building the country called Canada. Because at the time, it was just like an unnamed land. It wasn't even it was nothing. It was just land with a bunch of Indian people on it that had tribes and whatnot in the dirt and whatnot, dirt and teepees. And the Europeans, like the French and the English as well, like the British and Spanish and all these other ones came over, and they were way more developed in their building. They had ships, like big gigantic ships, and they had builders that built like very modern houses, and like the natives really didn't have houses back then and whatever. and what is it called? And they had a lot of money, because once they came over here and discovered the land and claimed the land, they were able to, I don't know how they used to do it specifically, but they were able to make communication back to Europe and whatever, through mail and whatnot. They started setting up mail routes and all that, and all these communications and all that, and all the communications started blowing up, like the type and all this started coming up or whatever, but not at that time or whatever, but back then they were able to get word of mouth mail and all that, kind of like Leonidas. They could send messengers and all that. And once they found out in Europe and stuff that the country is real, like it's vast, this land that they found and all that, it's the wealthiest ones over in Europe, because that place was already like developed and whatnot. Those kings and all that, they were very wealthy, and they were just sitting in their very nice palaces and whatever, and they discovered this, they had word that they discovered this land, so they were like, whoa, we are very wealthy. And then they put in tons and tons of money to just do whatever they've done with the country, build, and then that's where a lot of the biggest, most wealthiest ones came from. They were wealthy, their families were wealthy way back, and then they were able to push their families. There's ones that are just so wealthy. It's unbelievable how wealthy some are.